My name is Michaela McShane, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the Startup NASA Feature Series, hosted by NASA's Technology Transfer Expansion Program. T2X expands the tech transfer mission, ensuring that innovations developed for exploration and discovery are broadly available to the public, expanding to include a focus on entrepreneurial innovation and strategic partnerships that accelerate commercialization. This monthly series is an opportunity for NASA tech-inspired startups to share their experience. This month, we will hear from HerculE-Q, a cutting-edge technology and infrastructure company, transforming urban transportation with innovative wireless charging solutions for micromobility vehicles, including e-bikes and e-scooters. Headquartered in Hampton, Virginia, HerculE-Q is launching pilot programs to test their solutions on college campuses in Hampton and the surrounding areas. HerculE-Q's wireless charging solutions are designed to enhance the safety, accessibility, and attractiveness of non-vehicular transportation, addressing the critical challenges in urban mobility. Ultimately, the company aims to extend its innovative solutions to support other electric devices, including drones, wheelchairs, and automotive vehicles. Before we hear from today's speakers, I'd like to point out that your microphones will be muted throughout this presentation. So if you have questions, please type them in the chat box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, and we will answer them at the end. Thank you for joining us today. I will begin by introducing our speakers, Hannah LaCon, Aaliyah Hall, and Johnnie Stewart IV. Hannah LaCon graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Entrepreneurial Studies from Hampton University. She is the founder and CEO of an infrastructure and technology company called HerculE-Q, which focuses on the business of wireless charging infrastructure for e-bikes and e-scooters. She started HerculE-Q during her junior year of college and has gone on to license 5 patents from NASA. She currently leads a team of 5 consisting of multidisciplinary backgrounds. She participated in an 8-week fellowship with FedTech's MSI Connect, working in collaborative teams paired with Department of Energy lab technology. She spent time at Brookhaven National Laboratory, meeting with scientists, researchers, and participated in a final pitch event in front of BNL stakeholders. With a wealth of experience in team leadership, leading 2 separate teams of students and becoming a NASA MIDIC competition finalist, Hannah has an enthusiasm for project management and holds a certification from Cornell University in the field. Commencing her career in program management, she played a pivotal role in assessing individuals in job placement and provided workforce development training. Her commitment extends to serving as a board advisor for a nonprofit organization dedicated to imparting financial literacy education to elementary school students in the Norfolk Public School District and helped significantly reduce the suspension rate among the student body. Aaliyah Hall is a marketing and entrepreneurship enthusiast who launched her professional journey in high school, where she gained early exposure through vocational education and worked under a serial entrepreneur in Detroit. She graduated early from Hampton University with a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurial studies, where she deepened her knowledge in business creation and management. Aaliyah has amassed hands-on experience with various industries, including entertainment, the music business, education, software, neurotech, and sustainable energy, through a series of impactful internships, notably at NASA Ames Research Center. She conducted extensive research on SBIR and STTR marketing strategies, developed proposals for social media platforms, and contributed to advancing diversity initiatives. Aaliyah's passion for innovation, creative marketing, and adapting to a constantly changing world drives her commitment to making a meaningful impact in any industry. Johnnie Stewart IV is the CEO and co-founder of StewTech. With over 15 years of experience in the industry, he has led StewTech to the development of innovative solutions for microtransportation. Johnnie holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and has a proven track record of delivering cutting-edge technologies that have improved the performance and capabilities of personal electric vehicles. And with that, I'll hand it over to our presenters to talk to you about their startup.
Thank you so much, Michaela, for the introductions. We're going to have Aaliyah pull up our slides. Awesome. Like Michaela mentioned, my name is Hannah LaCon. I am the CEO and founder of HerculE-Q. Here joining me today, I have Johnnie Stewart, the lead engineer on our team, and Aaliyah Hall, the CMO and co-founder of HerculE-Q. We are developing wireless charging technologies for electric vehicles, specifically focused on e-bikes and e-scooters using NASA technology. But before we jump into what our technology does, how we're applying this tech, I do want to give you guys a brief background of how we got started. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, so like Michaela mentioned again, I was a student on Hampton University's campus. When I founded this company in 2022, I actually met Christy, who was the head of the NASA T2U and T2X programs, which provided us the opportunity to utilize NASA patented technology and pretty much come up with a business. At the time, I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do. I was an entrepreneurship student, but this really excited me. I came across a technology that enabled for wireless charging to occur, and it could be applied for different use cases. And, I just thought, why don't we just have fun with this, utilize this technology and apply it for electric vehicles. At the time, there was so much talk around the challenges regarding the charging infrastructure, the inefficiency. And personally, I actually just had a conversation with my dad about why he didn't want to buy an EV. And I just thought, hey, let's just give this a go and see what happens. So I was able to leverage connections within NASA, doing accelerator programs, doing various pitch competitions hosted by NASA, and realized that, this seems to have market potential. Doing a lot of customer discovery, I just went ahead, applied for the patent, licensing patent, and just take a leap of faith and just see where it was going to take me. I did do various pitch competitions, utilizing the skill sets of other students who saw the vision as well. So we participated in NASA MIDIC competition twice. We actually got to go to Texas, and that was an incredible opportunity, and we really had a lot of fun there. Met a whole bunch of other individuals from other minority serving institutes. And it's just always great to be in an environment with like-minded individuals. So then from doing these pitch competitions in front of other students, in front of other individuals' expertise who are experts in this field, I was able to grow the team just from being me to 6 people, the co-founder, engineers, and built an advisory board. So that's just a brief overview of how we got started. Yeah, so like mentioned previously, we want to provide touch-free, fast charging solutions to e-scooters and e-bikes. However, our technology has the potential to be scaled up to other battery-powered devices. So we do have a lot of great applications in store with the technology we're using. So focusing on the e-scooter and e-bike industry, I know you guys probably heard of Lime and Bird, Spin, all of those micromobility providers. So we want to provide them a solution in which it is more sustainable towards their business model, being that we can have more devices charged and able to be used by their customer base. So having our wireless charging docking stations, they're able to increase uptime. They're able to decrease on their expenses because right now there's a lot of money being spent that's going towards their battery infrastructure, their charging infrastructure, as well as paying for their employees who do the battery swappings. Um, in the latest news, Bird actually just got out of bankruptcy, and it was really just because their expenses were just way too high. Their operating expenses were extremely significant, and we feel as though providing a solution in which they don't have to necessarily use a lot of the resources that they're allocating money to. They can just use a docking station that ensures their vehicles are charged majority of the time. So basically, the problem we want to solve is providing micromobility companies a device that increases uptime, that reduces expenses, and that creates a more sustainable business model for them. So, like mentioned, we want to create docking stations that are charging stations that are stationary, but as well as dynamic. So our goal is to end up with a dynamic system in which e-bikes and e-scooter users can drive and charge simultaneously. So the idea about range anxiety is super prevalent amongst this customer base as well. They want to travel farther. But the battery technology is really not proficient to do that. So we want to strategically place our device in bike lanes that will also encourage the use of bike lanes as well. And I'll pass it over to Johnny.
Yeah. So the first step in this venture is being able to develop a wireless docking station for these types of vehicles. So we are able to create something that has an alignment feature to be able to get the scooter over a relative area of the wireless charging station. So in it's around the alignment feature allows the scooter to align within plus or minus 1 inch in the X and Y directions and up to plus 1 inch in the Z direction. And we use a inductive coil to create that wireless power transfer method to charge these battery packs in the vehicles. Um, these docking stations could be either powered by the grid using standard US 120 volt power or either through DC solar power. And from research, we determined that we could control the battery management system with the battery pack and the wireless charging, the inductive charging system itself as well. Next slide. So Hannah's team did some extensive research in different charging methods, and we came up with a few different concepts and really kind of combed through all different ways that we could charge this wirelessly, either using near field coupling or using far field direct transmission. So we found out that through a process of elimination based off of safety factors and price comparisons that the best method that we would use would be the magnetic resonance coupling. So go on the next slide. So yeah, so our selection of magnetic resonance coupling, so it's very efficient over distance, more so than standard inductive charging. So we have way more flexibility, giving us within 1 inch to 5 inches of charging based off of the efficiency that we want, and that allows for just different spatial placement of the e-scooter, e-bike. Safety was a huge concern. We want to make sure anyone using this is not going to be harmed by any sort of radio waves or radio frequency. So that magnetic field is one of the safer methods um, in using this type of technology. And also too, we want to have integrate something that's commercially available and that's has been vetted also, because we had to start thinking about different codes and standards based off of wireless charging. So researching different organizations like the Oak Ridge Lab and Witricity, we found that this is the best way to move forward. Yeah, so just going into how magnetic resonance coupling works, kind of using a LC circuit. We both have to tune the receiver and transmitter to make sure that they're both on the same frequency, and those frequencies could vary in range from either a few hundred kilohertz to up to a few megahertz. So being able to fine tune that is kind of the key of this technology, and getting that high efficiency that you will find opposed to compared to standard inductive charging.
So, our technology has so many use cases, and because of that, we have the opportunity to potentially expand into other industries. So, we're looking at drone fleets, we're looking at electric wheelchairs and other accessibility support devices, and also electric vehicles. And so, as a company, we plan to offer two different business to business purchasing options for companies. So, the first option is an outright product purchase. And the second option is offering a licensing agreement. So, this is where companies can license out the use to use our product and customize it to fit their own fleet of different micromobility devices, whether they have e bikes, e scooters, wheelchairs, and things of that nature. So, we're essentially offering a tiered solution that allows companies to choose a plan that fits their needs and their budget. And we also offer solutions that support that as well, such as support and maintenance, API access, and different training programs for our solutions. So within the past 3 years, we've accomplished so much, and we plan to keep going with our successes. We started back in 2021 with the NASA Made It competition, as Hannah said earlier. And since then, we've been a part of different programs, different accelerator programs, and pitch competitions to really network, put our name out there, and get some grant funding. So our growth strategy. So we've been growing and developing for the past 3 years, like I've said before, and we have no plans of slowing down. We have a long-term vision of becoming essentially the urban mobility infrastructure leading partner within the industry. We want to be a driving force for micromobility solutions and become indispensable to the industry. And so how we do that is we start with local college campuses and eventually expand to cities and municipalities and hopefully reach government contracting level status. We have a phenomenal team, including myself, Hannah as founder and CEO, me as co-founder and CMO, and Raven as our design architect. And we recently brought on Johnnie Stewart, founder and CEO of Warp Speed Scooters, and he's leading our engineering division to really bring our vision to life. We also have two advisors that support us, Jeff Johnson and Damon House. They're both entrepreneurs. They're both familiar with deep tech. They're both associated with NASA in some capacity, and both are paramount in the success of not only Hannah and I's company, but also in other minority companies as well. Um, and so, yeah. And this is our ask. So this is about how much we plan to generate in grant funding. We're working towards raising about 2.3 million gross for development, operations, startup and software build, things of that nature. And we are super confident that we can get to this point. So in summary, we aim to become an integral part of urban mobility development and infrastructure, and we want to make sure that our solutions touch every aspect of this space, and we want to eventually make HerculE-Q a household name within this industry. And this concludes our presentation. Let us know if you guys have any questions, or feel free to check out our website. Thank you so much.
And if you guys want to be a part of this amazing work, you can also reach out to us, and our email is right there at HerculE-Q@gmail.com.
Thank you guys. Great presentation. We have received a few questions, so I'll go ahead and read those in the chat box and ask them to you, and go from there. And feel free to continue to submit questions as we go through, and we'll get to as many as we can. Great. So yeah, go ahead and whoever wants to take the question answer, or if you'd each like to chime in, that works too. What aspects of your wireless charging system prototypes are you most proud of, and how do they set you apart from competitors in the market?
Yeah, I'll take this one. I think that personally what I'm most proud of at this phase is honestly just seeing it all come to life. I think that to have something that's so unique and also rare, especially when it comes to even just charging infrastructure in this industry, I think it's definitely a game changer. We talk to so many e-scooter users, and one problem that keeps coming up is just the lack of charging infrastructure for them. There's a huge community out there of enthusiasts who just love to utilize e-scooters. It's actually a substitute for them like they pretty much use it as a car. So I think just to provide a solution for them in which they're able to have places to charge, designated places to charge, but also we want to incorporate fast charging too. So that's another problem that keeps coming up is just the extremely long charging times. It's in between 4 and 6 hours to charge. And, something that users want to see is that it can take less than an hour to charge. And I think that will ultimately make us a competitor, or give us a competitive edge amongst the other solutions that are out there. Um, so I think that, just the fact that we incorporate fast charging and then even just having more designated parking spots for this community um, is a huge game changer.
Awesome, thank you. And this kind of piggybacks on that question, but what kind of feedback have you received from users and how has that influenced your development process?
Yeah, so right now I am a part of the ICAP program, so it's a customer discovery boot camp. So we're always talking to users, and personally, we're hearing the same thing over and over again. It's just there's a huge frustration with the lack of charging infrastructure. If you go to DC, there's an entire group they do group rides together. And so range anxiety is something that comes up a lot, and being able to have places for them to park and charge is it would be pivotal for them. They'll go to different restaurants. Sometimes these restaurants will kick them out because they don't want um, e-scooters in their facilities. So that's something that we keep hearing a lot is, just places in which they can charge, just even enjoy, eating out and charging while they're just eating. So that's really helped us validate that this is a problem. And making sure that we're giving the users really what they desire, which is more parking infrastructure and fast charging capabilities. And anybody else you guys can add to the answer.
Okay, I'll move on to the next one. Can this technology be implemented on existing Scootery battery packs? And if not, what hardware changes would need to be implemented?
Yeah, so right now the current changes that we need to make are on the battery management system. Right now they're just rated for direct wireless charging. So once we're able to change that feature or that aspect of the lithium-ion batteries, because lithium batteries are super sensitive to how much charge they can intake, and they have to be managed each cell. So the charge is being displaced evenly through each cell. Once we have that tuned or in line with the wireless charging, then um, everything would come into place.
Thank you. Let's see. You initially mentioned a collaboration between HerculE-Q and B&L. Could you talk more about the tech and the collaboration side? Let me know if that makes sense. I just read that verbatim.
Yeah, so we're not collaborating with BNL. I just did a internship with FedTech and I worked with BNL. So that's two different things that we're talking about. Sorry for the confusion. But yeah, my bio part of my background is just doing work with BNL and other commercialization technologies, but this wasn't with Brookhaven.
Okay, great. Thanks for clearing that up.
Mhm.
Let's see. How deeply have you explored explored and planned both short-term installation validation and long-term maintenance inspection, etc.?
Does anyone want to take this one? Johnnie or Aaliyah?
Sure, yeah. So it goes all to the any codes and standards first, that any regulations that we have to get across. But as far as maintenance goes on the charging station itself, we have designed it to be IP rated, so we don't have to worry about much water incursion, and the wireless pad itself is water resistant, so very low maintenance on that. However, the docking station is designed to be able to access if there is some updates or some components that need to be replaced.
Thank you. How do you foresee the adoption of wireless charging for e-bikes and e-scooters impacting the greater micromobility industry regarding infrastructure and consumer experience?
Oh, Hannah, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
I think the biggest thing is that with wireless charging, the industry is going to consistently grow. Like we're going to see more and more of what we're doing more popularized. But I think bigger than that, all of the solutions that we all provide within the competitive landscape, it's to make a more efficient future. We're seeing a growth in the desire for, especially for millennials and GC and Gen Z, for more walkable cities, more urban infrastructure that makes sense for the common commuter. And I think that with these solutions, we're providing that aspect. We're bringing more community back to cities and municipalities for the walkers and for the people that are using e-bikes and e-scooters.
So thank you. What short-term or long-term challenges do you foresee in implementing your charging solutions?
Short-term or long-term challenges. I think right now it's being able to find places in which we can actually do or launch a pilot. Um, I think we're gonna have to figure out a strategic plan to actually be able to test this in, like real life. So, like mentioned, our strategy is to go onto college campuses, but we need to figure out if, they're gonna be like willing to permit us on their college campuses. I think on the product development side of things, trying to go through the efficiency process or figure out how to actually enable fast charging because it is a difficult task to do and it could be quite dangerous. And also figuring out if like when we're charging, if it can be applicable for different models. Not everybody uses the same models of charging or models of scooters, I should say. So it might be different in terms of the levels of output they need to, the levels of output that needs to be had in order to really charge the device. So I think just on the testing side of things and the R&D side of things, there's a lot of research that needs to be done. In terms of scaling up to our dynamic system, that's going to be definitely very challenging because, we're dealing with misalignment. So that's something that we're going to really have to do a lot more research in and figure out how to efficiently produce that system.
Thanks. Given the rapid growth of the micromobility market, how do you plan to ensure that your product remains adaptable to future technological advancements and shifts in consumer demand?
Do you want me to take this or?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, so I think like we mentioned before, we want to have this technology be adopted and scale it up to something like an electric vehicle, right? So we want to make sure that, and we do understand that there is a growth in micromobility, and we're seeing more and more of people using electric transportation. So that's not going anywhere. It's only going to increase. And right now, there is a challenge with charging infrastructure on all sides, right? Even like electric vehicles.
Mhm.
The whole the lithium ion battery market, that's something that is still being researched. We're trying to improve our battery technology. So I think that, like, going back to our verticals, being that this could be used with different technologies, and we've also been able to talk to various individuals in each of those sectors. We've all came to the conclusion that this is something that is needed, especially to improve the range anxiety. So that's just something that's really prevalent amongst the entire electric transportation industry, is range anxiety. So creating a system in which users can really drive without having to deal with that. So I think applying this technology or offering this technology could, even at this scale, will introduce on a broader scale that we can attack those challenges head on.
Okay, thank you. Can you talk a little bit more about the sustainability impacts of a technology like this? You mentioned that the demand is increasingly trending towards more walkable areas and the use of electric transportation, which seems like it would decrease the use of gas-powered vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, even if we're looking at the policies in our economy, right? Like, there are policies being pushed that there is a transition to more electric transportation, decreasing greenhouse gas emissions. And I think right now you're going to see a lot of this like everywhere. Everyone is really trying to be more eco-friendly, trying to be more sustainable. Even just to something as simple as like going grocery shopping. Like, you're seeing people not even use grocery bags anymore. You have to bring your own reusable bag. So I think in order to keep up with the current demands, we have to continue to be more innovative. And obviously, with change is going to come challenges. And one of the challenges of this transition to a more eco-friendly economy is the charging infrastructure, the lack of charging infrastructure, range anxiety. So we want to be able to or provide a solution that um, faces and is a solution to those ongoing challenges that are occurring.
Thanks. You mentioned that you participated in a couple of different NASA activities. Can you touch on those in a little bit more detail? Maybe talk about how you first got involved with NASA technology transfer?
Yeah, so I was just a student at Hampton University, just got my degree in entrepreneurial studies. I actually transferred into the program my sophomore year. Um, and it was pretty much like the first day we were back in person because we went home for COVID. So we were actually back in person. And my professor pretty much is raving about, like, oh, there's a really cool opportunity with NASA, yada, yada, yada. Um, I have always been a huge fan of NASA. I low-key wanted to build rockets when I was a kid. I was super into astronomy. So I just knew like this was a way to get my foot through the door, like a way to just meet scientists, astronauts. I had to do it. So yeah, it was just a portfolio of NASA IP. Aaliyah went through the same program as I did as well. And we just looked through it. I did some research, and I just found a technology that I felt was applicable for a conversation that I had just a couple days prior. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something. I didn't think anything of it too much, but going back to your question, yeah, so that's how I got the introduction to NASA. And then through that, again, my professor, he was the one that had the connection to NASA because we were a part of the transfer to university program. So he was the one that told me about the NASA MIDIC competition. I applied for that. I built a team of students, and I did that 2 times in a row. Um, and yeah, just I had the connection through my professor, and he was the one that pretty much connected me to um, the NASA individuals.
Thanks. Let's see. In your, you talk a lot in the various answers and through your presentation about range anxiety as being a main pain point for your customers. Is that sort of the top thing that you heard during the course of your consumer research?
Yes, so that is the top thing, and that's primarily for individuals who own their own e-scooters, range anxiety is a thing because they pretty much use that to go everywhere. They use that as a car. Now, we also understand that on the business side of things, like companies like Lion, like Bird and Spin, they do their own charging. They have their own charging infrastructure, but there's still issues occurring with that, which isn't really range anxiety. It's just a lack of revenue coming in and just non-sustainable business models, being that they're paying so much money to sustain their vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, on the consumer end, range anxiety is a thing, and those individuals typically buy bigger scooters, bigger batteries, so they can travel farther.
Thank you. In terms of business case, do you see the like personally owned scooters versus the like city scooter rental companies as two separate markets that you plan to work with, or are you focusing on one over the other?
So right now we are focusing primarily on the business side of things. They have just one model of scooters. So instead of dealing with so many different models, we're focusing on the micro mobility provider side. Obviously, business things happen, things change all the time. So it's just a matter of continuing to do the research, continuing to follow the trends, but that's where we're falling right now.
Also, while we are still working with businesses, we want to get to a point eventually where we can retrofit our system to work with other scooters and other solutions that consumers use on their own.
Great, thank you. And then we're just about at time for questions. I encourage anyone whose question we didn't get if we don't get a chance to answer your question, to please reach out directly to the company. I know that they are open to connecting with interested parties, so please do feel free to reach out directly to get your question answered, but we're gonna I'll ask one or two more. I've got, let me know if this is not related, but I've got a question about whether or not the software could be integrated in unmanned aircraft, so I guess non electric scooter based technology. Is it pretty applicable across the board, and that's just your business case, or is this mostly the way that you see it being applied?
I think at a certain point, we would love if that was the case, if we can,
Mm-hmm.
offer like API access to other industries. But I think for right now, we want to get to a point where we successfully have a solution for just e-bikes and e-scooters before branching out to other industries. But it is a possibility, yes.
Awesome, thank you. And final question that we'd like to ask everybody who we feature on this series is, what advice would you offer to someone who's just getting started with a startup or with licensing NASA developed technology to start their company?
Just I think I would say find really good advisors. Find really good advisors and mentorship. That's gonna help you a lot. Um, and then just keep going. Like keep going. There's gonna be times when you're gonna doubt yourself. There's gonna be times where you just feel super sad, but you just gotta keep pushing through, keep enduring, and you're gonna see the fruits of your labor. I'm telling you that right now. So, um, but I think yeah, finding good advisors would be my advice.
I'd also say build your network. I would also say like network out, also while network up, because you never know who around you can help support you. You never know who you'll meet while you're networking. And I think that that's the biggest thing when it comes to trying to build a business and build a brand is to just continue to network and communicate, meet new people, connect with different companies. Me and Hannah, we reach out to different companies just to ask questions. And I think that just being open to communication is the biggest thing for an early entrepreneur, an early person getting started with NASA.
Johnny?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, like Hannah said, great advisors, keep pushing forward. Um, understanding the steps needed to move that technology forward, and I second what Aaliyah said as well. Just open up to your network and have people around. It takes a team to build. Ideas are easy, um, but it takes a team to really to win. So
Yeah.
good team.
All right, well, Hannah, Aaliyah, Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and share your story. This was incredible. Thank you, everyone who tuned in today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to the team at HerculE-Q. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.